Thank you all so much for being here this afternoon. We really appreciate that you took your time to attend on this rainy afternoon. Thank our speakers for the thought that they put into this, and you could tell how heartfelt these presentations were. Let me just offer a couple of closing thoughts that while inevitably the apology of a nation state takes us into the realm of politics, in the end, as I think Gabi's presentation suggested, apology is a spiritual undertaking. And part of what I tried to tease out of the panel was the notion that apology is good for the spirit both of the offender, if you will, because they can at last release any shame or bad feelings that they have around the historical conduct of their country. And we do all inherit the acts of our ancestors. And so it is important for countries like the United States, Canada, Guatemala, to accept this responsibility for their own good. At the same time, there is a great deal of healing for the people who have been offended. At a minimum, there's a restoration of self-respect and dignity. There's an assurance from the countries in which we reside that we do have shared values, that we can coexist. The assurance that the offenses that were committed against Native people were not the fault of Native people, something that frankly is not obvious to a child who is learning about what has happened to people like them in the past. And I remember as a child wondering very specifically, what was it about us that made this okay? And so it was important that somebody say it wasn't okay, so that these children don't have to ask that question. And then finally, the assurance that in fact we are safe in these places and that we are accepted and understood, and if nothing else, we will be tolerated, if not welcome, in these places. And that is no small matter for people after several hundred years of policy very deliberately, as in the case of the residential schools, as in the case of the American boarding schools, very deliberately attempting to eradicate these cultures and these people. We sit here today in a wonderful museum that was established by the United States Congress 19 years ago. And to me, this museum is very much in the nature of an act of apology to Native American people and a statement by the United States that we treasure what you bring to our country, and we want you to stay with us forever. And that is no small matter. And if you had been with us, and many of you were, on the day this museum opened in 2004, there was a feeling in the air that can only be described as joy. And I believe that it was this acknowledgement that underlay that joy, and that is why those people were so happy that day, and that is why this is such a special place. So thank you all, speakers. Thank you all. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for coming, Ben. Really appreciate it.